I need to tell someone about this before I lose my mind completely. 3 weeks ago, I moved into what I thought was my dream apartment. Top floor of an old building downtown, amazing view, and the rent was suspiciously cheap. I should have known better. The landlord, Mr. Kelvin, was eager, too eager, to get me to sign the lease. He kept rushing through the paperwork, avoiding eye contact. When I asked why the previous tenant left, he just muttered something about personal reasons and changed the subject. The first week was normal. I unpacked, set up my furniture, got comfortable. The neighbors were quiet, almost too quiet. I never heard footsteps, voices, nothing. It was like living in a vacuum. Then, on day 8, it started. I woke up at 3:47 a.m. to the sound of scratching. Not loud, but persistent, like fingernails dragging slowly across drywall. It was coming from inside the walls. I pressed my ear against the bedroom wall, and the scratching stopped immediately. Silence. Then, 3 deliberate knocks, right where my ear was. I jumped back, heart pounding. I convinced myself it was pipes or rats. Old buildings make weird noises, right? But when I turned on the light, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There were scratch marks on the wall, fresh ones, from the inside. The next morning, I inspected every inch of that wall. No holes, no cracks, no explanation. I called the landlord. He didn't answer. I left 3 voicemails. Nothing. That night, the scratching returned. But this time, it moved. It started in the bedroom, traveled through the living room wall, then to the kitchen, like something was pacing inside the walls, following me room to room. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. On day 12, I met my neighbor across the hall, an elderly woman named Margaret. I mentioned the scratching, hoping she'd heard it too. Her face went pale. "You're in apartment 13F?" she whispered. I nodded. "You need to leave, tonight." She told me that 6 tenants had lived there in the past 2 years. All of them left within a month. One woman was found unconscious in the hallway, mumbling about the man in the walls. Another tenant completely vanished, just left all their belongings and never came back. "There's no 13th floor," Margaret said, her hands shaking. "Look at the elevator buttons. This building goes from 12 to 14. They sealed off the 13th floor 40 years ago after what happened." I ran to the elevator. She was right. No button for 13, but I was living on the 13th floor. My apartment shouldn't exist. That night, I didn't go back to the apartment. I stayed at a friend's place, trying to process everything, but I'd left my laptop, my documents, everything. I had to go back. The next morning, I went during daylight, thinking I'd be safe. I unlocked the door and immediately knew something was wrong. The temperature had dropped at least 20 degrees. My breath came out in clouds, and the scratching, it was everywhere. All 4 walls, simultaneously, like dozens of hands clawing to get out. I grabbed my laptop and turned to leave. That's when I saw him, standing in the corner of my bedroom, partially obscured by shadow. A man, impossibly thin, with skin like old paper. His fingers were bloody, nails torn and ragged, and he was smiling. You weren't supposed to see me yet," he whispered, his voice like dry leaves. "Not until you became part of the walls too." I ran. I don't remember getting to the elevator or leaving the building. The next thing I knew, I was in my car, shaking, calling the police. They investigated. You know what they found? Nothing. According to the building records, apartment 13F doesn't exist. The landlord, Mr. Kelvin. No one by that name has ever owned or managed that building. The lease I signed, the police said the signature was 40 years old. The handwriting matched a property manager who died in 1985. But here's the part that keeps me awake at night. Last week, I got a letter in the mail, no return address. Inside was a single piece of paper with a handwritten note. "Thank you for the deposit. Your belongings remain in apartment 13F whenever you're ready to return. We'll be waiting in the walls." Mr. Kelvin attached was a photograph. It was me, asleep in that apartment, taken from inside the wall. I never returned. I never will. But sometimes, late at night, I hear scratching in my new apartment, and I wonder, did I really leave, or am I still there, in the walls, scratching to get out?